We all have to be united. In fact, we are all united. This lunch is a representation of that because we know the importance of women's voices and votes in this election. We're going to decide the outcome of this race. Whether the bad guys or the good guys win, it's going to be up to us. And our vote is only growing. In 2000, 50% of voters were women. In 2004, women made up 54% of the vote. And in this election, will make up even a greater percentage of the vote. That's why Women for Obama and your involvement, your continued involvement, is going to be critical to this year. Women for Obama operates under a simple core principle. For those of you who are just learning about it, the principle is simple. It's about connecting women. It's about women talking to women all over this country, sharing their stories, telling people about this guy, Barack Obama. It's about people educating one another on the issues, talking about our world and our place in this world. There has been a core group of Women for Obama supporters that are 30,000 strong, 30,000 women who make this happen. So let me just tell you a little bit about what that group of women has gotten done over the last year and a half. 4,000 of them have traveled and actually embedded themselves in states all over this country to help organize and get out the vote. 4,000 women have changed their lives and slept on floors on behalf of this campaign. We've hosted 3,500 house parties all over this country. Some of those were girls' nights out, which helped to connect younger women to this effort. We've made over 200,000 phone calls and written 250,000 postcards, often to undecided women, particularly older women who may not connect to the campaign through the online process. Nearly 300 women-related groups have started sites on our web. They've included everything from Pennsylvania Women to Obama to Business Owners Women for Obama, and then there are Obama's Mamas. That's an older group of women who are supporting my husband. And many of their online activities have been taken offline because they organize special events around the country based on these issues, notions. And we've got this amazing surrogate program with great depth and breadth because we've got women like Jan Schakowsky, we've got Caroline Kennedy, Gayle King, Claire McCaskill. They have traveled all over this country, just chatting with women, making themselves available to answer questions about issues, why they care about Barack. It has been amazing. And it's this kind of woman-to-woman connection, this contact, that has been effective. We haven't just lumped women into other special interest groups, but we've actually connected our women to other supporters who are undecided. It's real work. We've got business women talking to business women. We've got seniors talking to senior. We've got moms talking to other moms. And all of this, believe it or not, comes from Barack Obama. Yeah, a lot of this is his idea. Because he wants every single American to have some ownership stake in this campaign, that bottom-up approach. And the only way you do that is people buying in and working hard. And it's been a result of this work that we've seen some movement. In the 35 states that have held primaries over the course of this year, Barack won the women's vote in 15 of those states. So there's something going on. We're doing something right, but we have more work to do. We need to educate more women and bring them into this campaign, and they need to know about this candidate and understand what the issues are that are at stake, and then we have to get them to vote. That's what we have to do, because if there's one thing that I've seen out there as I've traveled around the country over this last year is that women need an advocate in the White House now more than ever before. More than ever before. See, like all of you in this room, I wear a whole lot of hats. Lots of hats going on. I'm a working woman. I'm a daughter. I'm a sister. I'm a best friend. But the one role that I cherish the most that you've come to know is that role of mom. My girls are the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning and the last thing I think about before I go to bed. And I don't care where I am, on the campaign trail, in a fundraiser, sit in the back of a van somewhere. I am worried about how my girls are doing, about their well-being, about their stability. So for me, policies that support working women and families, this is personal. These are the issues that I carry in my heart every single day. And I am always amazed at how different things are now for working women and families than when I was growing up. Things have changed just in that short period of time. See, when I was growing up, my father, as you know, a blue-collar worker, was able to go to work and earn enough money to support a family of 4 while my mom stayed home with me and my brother. But today, living with one income like we did just doesn't cut it. People can't do it, particularly if it's a shift worker's salary like my father's. Most families in this country are finding that both parents have to work. Have to. It's not a choice. And it's even harder if you're a single parent. Oftentimes they work more than one job just to keep ends together. And that doesn't include the jobs that happen when you come home for work. Those jobs, quite frankly, that still fall predominantly on the laps of women. Things like getting the laundry done, making dinner, nutritious dinners, because you can't just make a dinner, it's got to be a nutritious dinner. Grown with good, fresh, clean food, that takes time. Trust me. Handing out discipline, getting the homework done, paying the bills, and as you see the bills piling up and the money running short, then you've got another job, and that's often late night worrier. There are just not enough hours in the day. And I know, like many of you, I have spent my nights wishing for that magic machine that could add more hours to the day so I could sleep a little longer. Something that would clone me so that I could be in 2-3 places at one time, at least. But I don't know about you, I haven't found that machine. It hasn't shown up. But even with that, I joke about our challenges, but I do know, Barack and I know that we are lucky. We are some of the lucky ones because we have resources and support to help us get through. And I am particularly lucky because I have my mom, Marion Robinson. Uh-oh, the cameras, they turn right around. I want my mommy to stand up. This is the woman who keeps me grounded, who stays at home with my girls and makes sure that they're okay. I love you. Pretty much all of us in this room are lucky. But as I travel this country over the past year and a half, I've met countless working moms and dads who are not so fortunate. Over the past year and a half, I've been holding what we've called working women's roundtables all across the country in almost every state that I've been in. And these sessions have given me an opportunity to hear firsthand about the challenges facing working women and their families. And during one roundtable in Pontiac, Michigan, I heard from a 57-year-old widow who lost her job due to an illness and couldn't pay her own medical bills. She helps pay for childcare for her grandchildren while her daughter works multiple jobs. And during that roundtable, she expressed great shame and embarrassment. This is how people are feeling, shame and embarrassment, because despite a lifetime of hard work and sacrifice, she's still finding herself in a position where she can't make ends meet. And she told me, these were her words, she said, "It's degrading. She feels degraded by her struggle. In Kansas City, I heard from a 40-year-old single mother, 2 daughters, and a 17-month-old granddaughter. She makes $75,000 a year, but her student loan costs are $100,000. And she said that it'll take her 20 or 30 years to pay off that loan debt, making monthly payments of $700 or $800 a month. I mean, the crowd gasped when they heard that, but this is the norm when you have educational debt. On top of that, she faces soaring health costs because of her own mother's illness. Now, this woman did everything that society asked of her, everything. Even though she had children at a young age, she worked hard, held down a job she never gave up. She went back to college, got her MBA, which is the result of her debt. And she is working in a wonderful job, but she still can't make ends meet. She says that, she and her girls don't live extravagantly. She said their one pleasure was to go out maybe once a week to Taco Tuesday and have dinner out. She said they can't do that anymore. Maybe if they're lucky, they can go out once a month or so. But even with all of that, what does she say on this panel? She says, I'm blessed, which is how Americans feel. She said, I'm blessed, and I don't know how people do it who don't have what I have. In her own struggle, she is worried about others. And I heard from a nun, Sister Berta. She has a nonprofit that cares for 500 children through a daycare service, works a lot with foster kids and mothers struggling to keep their lives together. And Sister Berta said that she sees those mothers trying hard. She says they're working and really trying to keep it together. They're working at fast food joints, making beds at hotels and hospitals, but she said they just can't save enough to afford rent. At that very same discussion, there was another working mom there, had a good job in a medical company, but she still couldn't afford childcare for her only son. Her son had to stay home. Luckily, she had a family member. But she was worried because her doctor said that her child has some developmental issues and could benefit from being in a more social environment, and that she should put him in daycare. But she can't afford it. So she's worried that because she can't afford daycare, her son is missing out. And the beautiful thing at that round table was that afterwards, Sister Berta came up and she offered this woman childcare for her son at $10 a week. I hear these stories everywhere I go, from women doing everything that's asked of them. And these women aren't asking for much. They're not asking for government to solve all their problems. They're willing to work. They're just hoping that Washington will understand what's happening to families on the ground, particularly mothers, with a variety of the challenges that they face. And there just aren't enough Sister Bertas out there in the world to catch folks who don't make it and fall through the cracks. These struggles, the struggles of working women and families, are just not new to me. They're not new to many of us, and they're certainly not new to Barack. You see, Barack is the product of this kind of strong women upbringing, trying to struggle, making it together. Barack has been shaped by these stories. He grew up with a mother who was a very young single woman who struggled to finish her education and take care of him and his sister. And she was one of the kindest people that you'd ever meet. She was a dreamer, kind of person that would hop on the back of a motorcycle to help women in rural credit programs all over the world. And she had this eternal optimism and commitment to fairness and justice, and unwavering belief that she could help bring about better lives for women all over the world. And a lot of her still lives in Barack. It explains a lot, if you know what I mean. She was determined to show him and his sister that in America, there are no barriers to success if you're willing to work hard, but he also saw her struggle, oftentimes needing to rely on food stamps to pay the bills. And in her final months, Stricken with cancer, he saw her worrying more about how she would pay her medical bills than getting well. He saw his grandmother, the primary breadwinner in his family, work her way up through a bank from being an assistant to being a senior person in the bank. But he also saw her unable to break certain glass ceilings, watching men who were less prepared than her soar past her. And he sees me, his wife, trying to juggle it all in the midst of it, always living with the guilt that if I'm spending too much time at work, then I'm not giving enough time to my girls. And then if I'm with my girls, then I'm not doing enough for work, or you name it. It's a guilt that we all live with in this room. Can I hear an amen? And trust me, Barack understands this too, because the women he loves most in the world have gone through this. That's why he carries our stories, the stories of women and our struggles with him every single day. And that's why, as president, Barack is going to change Washington so that we're not just talking about family values, we're actually creating policies that show that we value families in this country. And that's one of the reasons why we're unveiling what we're calling our blueprint. You have them on your table, this wonderful blue notebook that outlines the plan that Barack has to support working women and families. Now, I can't go through it here. I know you'll be happy that I won't go through it page by page here. I encourage you to read it and to share it with others, but it lays out Barack's policies that will make it easier for working parents to support, to care for, and to raise their families. Policies that encourage healthy families. Policies that no longer force women to choose between their kids and their careers. He's going to expand the Family and Medical Leave Act so that millions of women will be able to take time off to care for a baby or an elderly parent, or just have a few hours maybe to attend a parent-teacher conference. But please applaud that. Or take a child to the doctor. He's going to require employers to provide all their workers with at least 7 paid sick days so that women don't have to be punished because somebody gets sick. He's going to fight to ensure that women are paid fairly for the work that they do, close that gap of inequity that still exists. Today, even though women are making up the primary folks who are breadwinners in their families, women still earn 77 cents to every dollar that a man earns. Barack wants to close that gap. And because 1 in 4 women will still experience domestic violence in her lifetime, Barack is committed to continuing to focus resources for prevention and support for affected families. That's why he helped reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act in the U.S. Senate, and that's why as president, he's going to continue working on this effort as well. And he will, and Barack is going to work to restore fairness to our economy, to ensure a world-class education for all of our kids, and create quality, affordable health care for everyone who wants it and needs it. Because until we do all of that, the choices women are forced to make won't get any easier. They just won't. And as many of you know in this room, when Barack first talked about running for president of the United States, what was my reaction? No. Don't do it, please, don't. You see, the truth is that I thought that politics was a mean, rough business. And honestly, the last thing that I wanted for my girls was to have them grow up in this, have their lives turned upside down in the midst of all of this, to have them hear their parents being criticized on national TV, to have them away from their dad for weeks on end. I didn't want that for my girls. I don't think anyone would really want that for their kids. But then I had to take a step back and take off my me mommy hat and put on my us mommy hat. And I started thinking about the kind of world that I would want to hand over to my daughters. I had to think long and hard about wanting them to be able to dream of anything for themselves. Wanting them to be able to imagine any kind of future for themselves and know that they would have the kind of support from this country that would allow them and all of our children to achieve those dreams. And then I realized that if that's the kind of world that I wanted for my girls, then I had to do everything in my power, make every sacrifice to make it possible. So that's why I'm a woman for Obama. That is why. Because I believe that helping Barack Obama become the next president of the United States is the best investment I could ever make in my daughter's futures and of all of our children's futures. So we're just about 3 months away from the beginning of making those dreams a reality. Can you believe it? 199 days. We're getting close to being able to go into those voting booths and make change, but there is so much work left to be done. We all feel the potential right here in this room, but there's a whole country out there that still needs a little convincing. So we're going to need you. And let me give you some concrete things that I want you to think about. If everyone here and the folks in their purview begin to set goals for themselves on how we're going to move this in November, even something as simple as recruiting 10 or 20 or 30 undecided friends. Don't get the ones who already love Barack. You got to find the ones who are like, well, I'm not sure about him. We need to register more women. If you set a goal for yourself of registering 25 new women as voters, if you set a goal for yourself of knocking on so many doors, or making so many phone calls, or maybe traveling to some key battleground states and spending a weekend or a day or a week, whatever you have, you can call women from home through Women for Obama. Don't have to leave your house. We make it easy for you. Or you can send emails to your friends and families just to remind them why you support Barack. And if you do all that, if we in this room and those in our sphere of influence, if we begin to do that kind of outreach and have those kind of women-to-women kind of conversations, and we have to, people need to know why you support Barack, what it is that strikes him about you, what are the issues that you care about that you know will not move forward if Barack Obama is not the next president of the United States. We need you to help correct any misperceptions, any untruths out there. We need you passionate and engaged. And if we can do all that and get people out to vote on November 4th, then I know that we can create that future that we so desperately want for our children. I want to thank you now for all that you've done. We would not be here if it weren't for you. Not at all. And we thank you for the work that you will continue to do on our behalf. We will work hard over the next 99 days. I guarantee you that. And if we do that together with courage and passion and faith and hope and possibility, then we can change not just this country, but maybe even the world. Thank you so much.